Right now, we're about to embark on a beautiful stroll at night in Arles of 1888. Well, let's start with a very obvious statement. So morning is the lightest part of the day and night is the darkest. Yes, Captain Obvious, everyone knows that. But which of these two moments do you think is the most colorful part of the day? The morning? Maybe in the afternoon? Or the night? It's the answer to this question that Van Gogh sets out to bring with Café Terrace at night. And today we will find out more about it. Come on, let's grab a cup of coffee together and go for it. We can say that Café Terrace at Night is a picturesque portrait of a quiet night in Arles, back in the 19th century. But how intriguing is it to look at this painting and see so many bright colors in a scene depicting a nocturnal moment? Don't you find it odd? I do. But there's an explanation behind the use of the colors in this painting, and it's one of the letters that Vincent van Gogh, the painter, wrote to one of his relatives. In the letter, he says, "The night is more alive and more richly colored than the day." What an unusual point of view. Well, here we have the painter answering our initial question, don't we? Indeed, the colors used in Café Terrace at Night catch the eye immediately, as do the drawn shapes that seem to fit together with a somewhat dubious precision. If you look closely, the elements in the background and the elements in front are equally distinct, which causes some difficulty in understanding how they can be together on the canvas. Also, the colors seem to play with each other. The yellow of the cafe building contrasts with the blue and black of the street, as well as with the violet blue of the door in the left corner. But somehow, nothing gets messed up. On the contrary, these paradoxes help unify the scene, especially at its greatest point of contrast, where the yellow awning meets the blue sky. The way the lines were drawn is also interesting to look at, and they add further to the paradox of the painting. The shortening lines go deeper, as we can see on the door, and they are parallel to the sloping lines of the awning and the ceiling on the second floor of the cafe. From this point of view, we can conclude that the upward dimension is more expressive than the depth. The starry sky also is important to put some patterns in this painting. Its silhouette develops the double lighting and the contrast between the cafe and the night sky. Try to notice how the inverted shape of the sky is reflected in the cafe's orange floor, window, and adjacent doors. Fantastic, isn't it? Notice another interesting reflection in the painting as well. The elliptical shapes of the stars are similar to the shapes of the cafe's tables. Brilliant! Look broadly at the Café Terrace at night. What do you think stands out the most? Most people's answer is this: the contrast of the yellow, orange, and green under the marquee with the starry blue sky, along with the dark blue of the houses in the background. Van Gogh himself commented on this effect, saying that yellow and orange eventually itemize the blue. Genius! In Café Terrace at Night, the Dutch painter used contrasting colors and tones to create a colorful pulse that seems to defy the nighttime darkness. I can only imagine the sense of excitement and rapture that Van Gogh felt that night, which is very perceptible in every stroke of his painting. Don't you feel it too? This painting is of the cloisonné style, originating from post-impressionism, where flat colors are bordered by dark outlines. Here, Van Gogh indeed painted every detail of the composition in a flat and elegant way. One of the main inspirations that Van Gogh had for this painting came from Japanese art. He was already familiar with this theme, having made some related works such as the courtesan after Eisen, flowering plum tree after Hiroshige, and the bridge in the rain after Hiroshige. However, did you know that Van Gogh never signed Café Terrace at Night? Yes, that's right. Of course, the style of painting is noticeable as his, but historians were only able to confirm this after finding 3 letters from Van Gogh, which he mentions Café Terrace at Night. Another curiosity is that besides being known as Café Terrace at Night, this painting also has 2 alternative names. They are Café le Soir, or Coffee House at the Evening in English, and Café Terrace on the Place du Forum. All of them are good names, don't you think? Which name do you think suited better? You probably know this is another work by Van Gogh that also uses his famous post-impressionist technique in painting starry skies. Can you remember the name? Let's see. Café Terrace at Night is the first painting where the artist used this technique and is part of the collection of works he painted in Arles. These works are famous for their starry skies, and besides Café Terrace, it also includes Starry Night over the Rhone and Starry Night, his most famous painting. Of course, you must know this one. Considering his lifetime, putting the word fame and Vincent van Gogh in the same sentence is somewhat sadly ironic. His life story is well known, for the painter was never recognized for his work while he was alive. Although he was born into a relatively wealthy family, Van Gogh had some problems in his professional life. The Dutch painter dropped out of school and worked in various places until he realized at the age of 27 that his true path was with art. He had a hard life, marked by his mental illness and some misfortunes along the way. He came to live in poverty and with no money, having sold only one work in his lifetime, The Red Vineyard. The truth is that Van Gogh couldn't succeed because his style wasn't very common at the time, and his personality, which was very affected by his illness, didn't make things easy either. Even so, he always had great support from his younger brother Theo, both financially and emotionally. But because of Van Gogh's condition, his relationship with other people didn't last long. Mentioning one of his most remarkable relationships besides his brother, he and the French painter Paul Gauguin were very close friends and even lived together. However, because of artistic differences, they ended up fighting and never recovered their friendship. Perhaps this is one of the greatest contrasts in the history of Van Gogh. Overlooked while he was alive, but loved worldwide after his death. Van Gogh manages to remain relevant even more than 130 years after his death. Between 2000 and 2010, Café Terrace at Night itself was the second most reproduced painting worldwide. The first place is also Van Gogh's, Star Night. Tributes to the painter are everywhere around the world. One of them is the real Café Terrace at Night, which is located at the Place du Forum in Arles. Today, the place is called Café Van Gogh and attracts many admirers of the painter. They want to go there and see the scene in real life, and also because it's believed that Van Gogh actually went there in person to make this painting in 1888. The evidence, you might wonder? Astronomical records show that the stars in the painting are painted in exactly the right position. It's like looking at the real night sky. I've already mentioned Arles several times in this video, I know that. The French city was very important to Van Gogh and had a strong impact in his works. He lived there for a period, a time when he felt most inspired, which made him produce his best works. According to the artist himself, the lights of Arles were his favorite part of the city, which he said reminded him of Japan. Because of that, he made sure to portray them in some paintings, and as you can see, Café Terrace at Night is one of them. Another tribute to this painting is the cafe called Café Terrace at Night in the Kröller-Müller Museum in Otterlo. This is a special tribute, as this museum is home to the second largest collection of Van Gogh's paintings. The first one is Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. If you like the artist, and coffee of course, you should pay a visit to Café Terrace at Night in Otterlo and Café Van Gogh. I bet it might be a special experience for the fans. To conclude, we can tell that the main message that Van Gogh wants to tell us about Café Terrace at Night is that despite the darkness, it's possible to find the most beautiful colors at night, because they're there indeed. So what were your impressions of Café Terrace at Night? Did you enjoy it? Perhaps you're inspired to go for a walk at night and have a cup of coffee under the stars. I certainly am. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications to stay informed about the next videos. Oh, and leave your likes on the video as well. They're important too. Good night.